Hello, my name is Hector Velazquez and welcome to GCSAA Inside the Shop. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about proper rotary blade maintenance. Now, we're first going to talk about a little bit of the anatomy, what makes up a rotary blade, and how they're designed a little bit. And then we're going to talk about what are some of the best practices to maintain a rotary blade. So let's get started. Okay, let's talk about some of the parts that make up the rotary blade. And we're going to begin over here with this part that we call the cutting tip. Actually, only about an inch to an inch and a half does the cutting of the turf. The rest of the blade is what we refer to as the cutting edge. And this kind of breaks down the turf even more. Next, we have the blade sail. On this particular blade, this is a mulching style blade. They have high lift blades and low lift blades. And your environment will determine the type of blade that you will be using. Alright, let's talk about some relief. On the blade's edge, you're going to find a relief leading from the cutting tip to the sail of the blade. And it's usually going to be about 1 to 2 degrees. Next, we're talking about the cutting edge relief. And usually factory relief is going to be about 30 degrees. With this nifty little tool from EMBSX, we can find out what our factory relief is. In this one, it's 30. Next, we have the bottom blade relief, or angle of attack, if you will. And a lot of this is manufactured right onto the blade, or they'll usually use the deck to set that angle, the front wheels being a little lower than the rear. Alright, now, so to properly measure a blade, you want to measure from cutting tip to cutting tip. So you're actually going to be measuring at a diagonal. And this is how you can find out your true length of your rotary blade. Now I'm going to begin by doing an inspection before I begin any grinding or sharpening. I want to inspect the blade, make sure it doesn't have any serious damage, make sure it's even worth messing with before I start grinding. And it looks pretty good, no serious dents. I want to check that the blade is straight. And with this tool, it's going to allow me to do that. So we're going to mount the blade right onto the cone and slide the magnet holder into place, and that's going to support my blade. I'm going to bring one blade down, and with this gauge tool, I'm going to make sure it meets up to the back of the blade, rotate the blade, and I'm looking for the same distance. If it deviates by a 1/4 inch or more, the blade is bad and will need replaced. Alright, now while I have it mounted onto the balancer, I'm just going to check the balance and see which side I'm going to need to work on a little more, just to make it quicker. One method of sharpening your blade is using a file, and you want to support the blade on the vise and work the file straight down. File only has one cutting direction. Now we have a ways to go, so a file is not practical in this application. A thinner blade or just a touch-up and a file will be great. Most common method is the angle grinder method, and I like using a flap wheel for this. It gives me a little bit of a smoother grind. Now when you're using a handheld unit or grinder, you want to make sure you try to keep that blade or the grinder from cutting the corner in the blade. Same thing with a right angle die grinder. You want to keep it even all the way across the grind. Now here lately I've been using the EMBSX method, which is really great. The one thing, I'm able to sharpen my blades while it's still on the unit. Now I am able to get about 12 to 15 grinds before I have to remove them and check for balance. Now once you've ground your blade, you want to remount it on the balancer and check for balance again. A properly maintained blade will make sure that you get the most out of your blade. I want to thank you for joining me here today on GCSAA Inside the Shop, where we're helping technicians one wrench at a time.